Hi, welcome to Allbrands After Hours with me, Courtney Douthat. Welcome to the show. We hang out and craft together. Today we'll be going over 5 tips and tricks for your Brother ScanNCut. Let's do it. Alrighty, tip number 1. I feel like we've talked about this quite a few times, is how to clean your mat. How to best clean your mat. And I'm really going to show the bad side of this. So this is my fabric mat. If you notice, it's not really sticky. Down here is pretty sticky. You notice how the mat comes up a little bit, but over here, not too sticky. I've done a ton of fabric on here. It's been through it. It's seen some things. So I need to clean this mat. Now, I've talked about this in a few other videos of how to clean your mat, but I've never actually done it with you on camera. So today we're going to do this together so you can see in real time how I keep my mats clean. And if you're keeping your mats clean, they're lasting you longer. You're not having to buy as many mats and you're saving yourself some money. So step number 1, the things that we are going to need is totally awesome. It looks like this. You can get it from the dollar store. We're not affiliated in any way. I just really like this product. So it's at the dollar store. It comes in a clear container, but it's yellow. So what you're going to do is you're going to get this from the Dollar Tree or wherever you get it from. You're not going to dilute it. You're not going to do 50-50 ratio. Full strength. We want full strength. If you do dilute it, it will mess with the glue and damage your mat. So full strength. I know that feels weird. Trust me on this. We're going to need just some paper towels, and then I like to grab my scraper tool, my little squeegee. I like to grab that to clean it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cleaner in our little spray bottle. Now it does come in the spray bottles. I purchased mine in the spray bottle, but then I go and get the gallon. Sometimes you can find it at the Dollar Tree, different places, and then I just keep refilling this one. It's cheaper to do it that way. I mean, it's not expensive in the first place, but it is cheaper to do it that way. So I'm going to spray my mat just generously all over. Okay, now I've sprayed it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little scraper right here, and I'm not scraping hard. I'm just kind of lightly moving things around. And if you notice, I don't know if you can see it, I'll do an up close camera. I mean, there's so much gunk coming off of this mat. I mean, it's gross. It's gross. And I'm just coming around. I'm scraping it around. I'm not doing it hard, because if you do it hard, then you will mess with your glue. You can hear it when it goes over the bad parts. This is my mat that I use when I want to do something crazy. If I'm doing something that I probably shouldn't be putting on a machine, or I'm just down a little more in the really bad parts. If I'm doing something like when I do thin balsa wood, stuff like that, this is the mat that I usually grab. So this is a perfect mat to do this on, because it really has been through it. Alrighty, so now that we've got that, I just clean my scraper off because I don't want to leave any chemicals on this. She's good. And I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to wipe down my mat and get all that liquid off there so it's completely dry. It's not going to be sticky, which is scary, but it's going to dry, trust me. Now if you notice, if I put my hands on here, it's not sticky. There's no stick to this. It's really nothing. So what you're going to do is you're going to leave this out without its protective cover on it. So do not put that plastic cover back on. You're going to leave it just the mat on its own, and you're going to leave it to dry. And if you notice, if I start putting my hands on it, you see how it's moving? It's starting to get sticky. So I'm going to leave it there to dry for a few seconds or a few minutes, and it's going to bring all that stickiness back. I know that's crazy because you're like, you just put a cleaner on this thing. It wasn't a crazy baby wipe. It wasn't anything like that. It was an actual cleaner. Totally awesome. It's totally awesome. It's really good. So that is Courtney recommending that. It's not Brother recommending that. Courtney recommends that. It's good. And honestly, that's what a lot of educators, ScanNCut educators, that's what we recommend. So I trust it. I think it's awesome. So if I put my hands on it now, how cool is that? And y'all saw me earlier, I was putting my hands on it and it wasn't sticky. Now, and that was real time. Like, how crazy. And now it's getting super sticky. And now I can use it again, because before, nothing was sticking to it hardly. And I don't want to have to throw a mat away. It's expensive having to do that. If I keep maintenance on them, I can save my costs. Alrighty, tip number 2 is storage. Now, the previous models of the ScanNCut didn't have storage built in. They had like a random thing over here. It was awful. Now the models come with storage built in. So if you open these right here up, you can put storage. Now for different things, I store different places just to keep my head a little bit more organized. So things like my big spatula tool, my big scrapers, my rhinestone little special thing, I keep in here, and they fit great. I can close it up, anything like that. If I'm working on a project and it's little bitty items, I like to put it in here. There's also storage right here. So say I get this tool, I could store it right here if I wanted to. There's storage right here if I wanted to, and there's storage right here. I can even store things behind the head of this thing. There's different storage on board, but let's talk about storage not on board. So there are different things that you can get to help you store. I travel around with my machine, so I appreciate these things. The number one thing that I usually carry around is this right here. And I know there's a bit of a glare, I'm so sorry, and I'll do some up close pictures. So this is how I store my blades and different accessories for the ScanNCut, is I actually store it in the storage case, the ScanNCut storage case. And it has a little zipper. Let me not open it with it sitting up and everything comes out. So this case is pretty cool in my opinion, because you can actually open it up, and all of which I'll try to lean it. All of my blades, so I keep all my fabric blades right there. I have multiple blades just because I do a ton of projects. So I have multiple blades of the different blades. So I store them all in here. My extra blades, I usually store in here right now. I don't have any because I just changed out all my blades, but I would store them in here too. And then that way I'm not losing any blades, and I label them and I keep them with, like, say my rotary blade. Well, the extra blades from my rotary blade, I'm gonna store it in there with my rotary blade. So when it comes time for me to change the blade, they're right there ready to go. Same thing with my fabric blade, my vinyl blade, my black auto blade, everything stays in here. Oh, the black auto blades are actually right here. So I would store everything in here. And it can also store my little spatulas. I store an extra pair of little bitty snips in here just in case. So I actually store some of my sewing bits in here too. If it's things that I use a lot with my ScanNCut and sewing, then I'll keep them in here. But like my my drawing tools with their pins, their little bitty pins, I store in here. I store my extra rhinestones for when I do rhinestones. I store them in here. Different things like that. My stylus, I'm always losing. I store it in here. But different things like that, little bitty bits, I like to store them in here. I like that it has the little foam, so when I do travel with this, I put it in my bag. And so it goes my bag, my ScanNCut bag, and I'll put it on screen because I don't have it with me right now. It's actually in my car because I just went somewhere with my ScanNCut. So what I do is I actually close this up. I put it in, it's a little foamy carrying thing that it sits on. I pull that up so this comes down. So I load it all in love, put it inside my ScanNCut bag, and then I'll go and take this and I'll put this on top of it, and it fits all nicely in my bag and it's not squished in there. And I put it all in there, and then it's a roller bag, so I'll roll it to wherever I need. And I appreciate the storage and the organization of it all. Now the bag's really cool, and again, I'll put pictures on the screen, because it's got storage on it too. It's got these like clear like storage bags on the top of it, and it's got side storage so your mats easily slide in there. So I love the bag. If you're traveling around a lot with your ScanNCut, I recommend the bag. It's great. It fits the ScanNCut, and it has handles on the side of the bag. So if I need to pick up my ScanNCut to put it in my car, it's way easier than trying to, like, you know, manhandle this bag. So I appreciate the storage of the ScanNCut, but I feel like a lot of people don't talk about how to store their stuff or how they store their stuff. So that is probably one of my biggest things. This is how I store my stuff. It keeps it nice and organized for me, and I appreciate that. Now, if you watched some of our shows before, you know that you can actually scan your design in, and it will show you on the screen what is on your mat. That way you can drag and drop whatever your image that you're cutting or drawing or whatever into that area. But there's an additional thing that you can do that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. So let's jump in. So if we actually come here, so we haven't even selected a design, but let's come to this wrench icon down here. And now, if you notice, this says languages, unit, cut area, everything like that. We want to come to cut area. Now, we could select that we want a 12 by 24 area, and now it's going to give us a 12 by 24 mat to work on. Or we could select a 12 by 12 mat that we want to work on. Well, let's say that I have a piece of fabric or vinyl that's itty bitty, but I want to make sure the designs can fit on there. Well, of course I could scan my design or my page in to see it in color on the screen, but I could also do this and come here and drag that in, that little arrow in, and tell it, hey, actually this is the area that I want to work with, and I could make it exact. So I could put whatever size I want and tell it this is how big I want my work area. So if I select this random size and select okay, okay again, now if I bring in an image, let's bring in some random shapes. If I'm like, okay, I want these, well, I want 2 of them and I want them this size. Oh, well, this is outside your space that you just told us you wanted. Oh, okay, well, I can't do that. Let me shrink it down. Hit okay. It's within our space. And of course, we can move it and make it go even further. But if I'm bringing in a bunch of them and I know that I only have allotted space for this many, well, then I'll know how many I can cut without having to bring them in, shrink them down further. I know from the get-go, this is how big my sizes can be. So it's a little helper that can kind of shrink down your size. And now you can, of course, come right here to your mat with the little bar and scan any of your images in. You can see in color what's on your mat. So if we did have the vinyl or the fabric that was that size, we could have it in color. This is just something easy if you want it if you know the size of it, you can select that. And then that's now your workspace. Can I go outside my workspace? Yes. But it just shows you a little highlight of where your workspace would be. So it's giving you a further option of how to be able to size things properly. Now let's say I had this space right here. Okay. Okay again, and I brought in some additional things. So not only did I have these guys in here, but I went add pattern. I came in and added some stars. Well, maybe I want some little stars. Hit okay. Okay again. Now I say I want 3 of them. Okay, well the 3 could fit on there great. Well, you know what, maybe say I wanted to add more of these stars. Well, then I could come here and say, actually I want to add some more of these stars. I want 4 more of them. Okay, well if you notice, they're lined up on top of each other, so they're not perfectly spaced out. Well, if I come to okay, okay again, I could come to this image right here. And now, if we select this, it would rotate them or however best it could fit into this area, line them up and down, or just line them all facing up. Well, I'm going to tell it, hey, you can do whatever you want, just as long as they're in that area. And now it's perfectly going to align them where they're best still in that area. And it's making sure that it keeps it out of this area that we told it not to go in. This is our work area that we've now selected. So it's very, very handy. Now, the ScanNCut will show you, again, in color what's on your screen, but sometimes if it's a darker material, it's kind of hard to see. So I like having this option because I can see it really well with that black and white contrast. It's very easy for me to see. And if it was a material that had a design on it and say the design was super busy, well, this is easier for me to see than that designs. But if I know that that material is this size, well, then I know I'm within my area that I have allotted to me with my material. So super handy tool to have. So we hit okay, and then we could draw whatever we wanted. And if we wanted to turn it back, we could come to this wrench icon right here, cut area, and turn it back into a 12 by 12 by 24 or a 12 by 12, and then we're good to go. Now, another feature that I feel like doesn't really get talked about a lot is offset. And there's things that I use offset for a lot, offset cut. So say I had these right here, these 2 little strawberries that I printed out just a regular piece of computer paper. And I could put these on my low tack mat, and I will show you the difference of an offset cut and a regular cut. Now, when would you want to use offset? Personally, I use offset a lot when I'm doing stickers. I make a ton of stickers with my kids. They're into stickers right now. So I could do a cut right on something. So say you get sticker paper, you can cut that out on your machine because it can do a half cut. So if you want to keep it on the whole sheet, you can, or you can cut all the way through the sticker paper and make individual stickers on there. I know I keep saying stickers. So let me know if you guys want a video of how to do that, because it's really, really fun. My kids really enjoy it. And we can make tons of custom stickers and everything like that. So let's load our mat. And I'm going to use the 12 by 24 low tack mat because, one, I feel like she doesn't get enough love. The 12 by 24 mats are so cool. I mean, they make a huge, it's literally off the camera. literally. It's such a big mat. Alrighty, so now that I've got those 2 strawberries on there, I'm gonna come here to scan. I'm going to direct cut because I want to cut the actual things out that I'm scanning. I want to save it to my machine. Now right here, I've already changed it, but the scan area usually is a 12 by 12, but you can change it to a 12 by 24, which is what I want because that's what my mat is. So don't forget, if you are using your 12 by 24, at that step, make sure that you're changing your mat so it scans all the way to that 12 by 24 and not just a 12 by 12 like it usually does. It's set to a 12 by 12. So let's hit start. And we showed you in the last tip how to change your cut area to a 12 by 24. Make sure you change that as well. So, got that. She's such a big mat, it's coming out the back. So, it knew to scan the whole thing, not just to stop at that 12 by 12. It scanned the whole 12 by 24. That is so cool. I mean, that's a huge scanning area. Awesome. Awesome. So, now if you look at our scan, both of our strawberries are on here. I'm going to select OK. Now, I'm going to make it come to this one. Let's go down, and we're going to pull that all the way up. So just selecting that one strawberry. I hit preview. And if you notice, it has a little black outline around that strawberry, and it's right on there. So if I select OK, if I was to select that, right now that one isn't selected down here. It's just talking about this one. If I cut that, it's going to cut it right on the line. But if I select this offset, I can tell it how much of an offset I would like. 0.4. I mean, it really could do whatever I wanted. And again, if you're doing a sticker, it's super nice to be able to have that around there. So I'm going to select OK. I like that offset. I want a little white edge to it. Hit OK again. Please select cut. And for this, I would use my black auto blade for paper. So just drop that into its holder. And you notice the start lit up once I dropped it in there. No half cut because I want to go all the way through my paper, and hit start. So she's coming down. Since it is an auto blade, she will automatically sense how deep that material is and only cut out that material. So here she goes. And she's off. It's going around my strawberry. And she's leaving me that little white border. And she's done. Now before I take her off, because I know that's the exciting part, let's do the other one. So I'm going to select OK, and I'm going to go back. Come back again, and instead of that strawberry, I'm coming down here for our other girl. And I just want that area. There we go. Hit preview. So now I just have that strawberry, so I'm going to select OK. And I'm not going to do an offset like I did here. I'm going to select OK. Please select, and now I'm just going to cut that strawberry out, just normal. Start. So again, the machine's going to come down to this strawberry and automatically just cut her right on the line. There she goes. Now, if you had a fabric like this, this is what would be called fussy cutting. You could cut directly on that image. So say there was, it was a design that had giraffes and elephants and different animals on here. If I wanted to cut them out like how I'm doing with my strawberries, same concept. I can shrink it down, tell it exactly which one I want to cut, if I want an offset cut or if I want a direct cut. All right, I know you're done. Alrighty, so, like how cool. That is so cool. All right, we're gonna be good and not just rip it off like I normally do. We're gonna take our spatula. And usually if it's, this is a pretty good mat, so I'm just gonna come off to the edge. Just kind of give it a little something to grab onto. How cool is that? Oh my gosh, this is so cute. So now you have the option right onto the actual strawberry, or if we could do an offset cut, and we could have made the offset cut bigger, smaller, whatever we preferred. It's really up to you. Again, if you had a fabric and you liked the color of the fabric around it, and if you were doing an applique you didn't have a stitch out for and you wanted to pop on a quilt or on a shirt, offset's awesome to give it that little bit of edge to it. How cool is that? This is so cool. This stuff entertains me, but again, you see where the stickers, if I had done this on sticker paper, I would now have 2 giant strawberry stickers for my kids to play with. How fun would that be? Now, another thing that I use this for, I'm going on a tangent because I think this is a really cool feature, is another thing that I do is I would cut out, say this was a fabric and it was a strawberry, I could cut it out, leave a little offset, sew around it, so say these were the same, sew around them, and then I could make my kids fabric play food. And this would just be my seam allowance. How cool would that be? Oh my goodness, I think it's so neat. So very, very cool feature. Now in the last show, I did notice someone, whenever I was doing the vinyl design, and I said I went ahead and sealed it off camera on my heat press, and someone was like, show the heat press. I will show you a picture of the heat press. All the cameras are this way and lighting's this way, but I will use it on my phone, and I will show you the heat press. This is my personal heat press that I use at home. And I love it. I think it's great. It's wonderful. Can't say enough about heat presses, especially this one. And of course, I have everything linked. But I recommend a heat press if you're going to do a business. A business needs a heat press, in my opinion, if you're doing vinyl. Because a heat press is going to not only give you that pressure that you need, it's going to give you that heat that you need. And you can actually dial the heat exactly that you want. And plus, different heat presses, different sizes, but the one I have is pretty large, and I can do a whole back of a men's shirt on my heat press, and it's giving that nice even seal on there, so I know that I'm giving them quality products that they can wash and wear and tear. And I used to do a lot of businesses that were doing landscaping and construction. Well, they're really being rough on those shirts, so I didn't want any peeling, so I like heat presses. Yes, you can do vinyl with hand irons and different ones that I've seen. Yes, you can do that. It just worry about if it's actually heating up the glue in the back of that vinyl at a temperature that it recommends. A heat press, again, not only is it giving it that temperature, it's giving it that pressure that it needs to really heat up that glue and seal it in well. So highly, highly recommend getting a heat press if you're doing a business. If this is just a fun craft for you, well, then a hand iron is going to do you just fine. Like the one that I always use on the show, I have it right here, is the Nifty Notions iron. I like this iron. She's compact, she's small, and I can usually get into small little areas. So I do like this iron. Of course, she sits like that. But I do like this iron for smaller things. But if it's something larger, if I'm giving it as a gift, if I'm giving it as a business, something like that, and I'm selling them, then I recommend the heat press. So it's whatever you're doing, tailor it to what you need, but that is something that I recommend. And someone asked in the last show to see my heat press. That is my heat press, and she has been used and abused. I've done a lot of projects on that one. Now this leads me into our bonus one. Our bonus one, I always recommend, if you have a ton of vinyl, get a file or folder. Put your bits of vinyl in there, all your little bits, and you can label them with what color's in there. If it's heat transfer or PSB, you can label it in there, and then that way you sort all of your vinyl. So you're gonna be full organized with all of your bits and be able to find your things and use your things and not have to rebuy things because you can't find them. So highly recommend doing that with your vinyl. Highly recommend doing that with your different blades. Yes, feet. I'm a sewer, of course. Yes, you can put them in here, but if you're like me and you start getting a bunch of them and start doing a ton of projects, it's really nice to have this. And they have this in 2 different colors. Mine's this blue and black. My bag is the light blue and gray, but both of them come in both colors. So, and of course I link all this stuff down below. So if y'all ever have any questions, let me know. Also, let me know in the comments how you store your stuff, because I'm nosy and I like to know. If you came out to see me in Always QE, thank you so much. I'm gonna pop some of the pictures up of all the cool people that we met. It was great to see all of you in person and get to hug you and answer your questions and just talk about ScanNCut and show me your projects. And my heart was full. It was amazing to see everyone in person. So thank you so much to everyone that came out. Thank you so much to everyone that said they watched the show and they enjoyed the show. That makes it feel really, really great, because I do talk to you guys in the comments, but it's a whole nother level to see you in person. So thank you so much for everyone that came out. That was a great show. We had so much fun. I was exhausted the next day, but it was really fun. Now, speaking of shows, there is something a-brewing in the San Antonio area. So if you are in the San Antonio area or around there, there is something coming your way where you might get to hang out with me and some other really cool people. So keep that on your radar if you are in there. if you are in that area. Now that is an exclusive, so that stays between me and you. Okay, me and you. No telling anybody else. Well, you can tell people. That stays between me and you. That is an exclusive for us. So I'm very, very excited. If you watch the Allbrands show, Barbara also probably mentions a little something. So we got something in the works. So I'm very, very excited. Hopefully next show we'll be able to tell you guys a little bit more. I'm going to beg and plead that I can. We'll see where that can go. Anyways, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe because it's the easiest way to let us know that you want more of these videos. And y'all have a good night. Bye.